We are counting down to the 2024 election, the November 5th election, now less than 2 weeks away, and there are 10 propositions for voters in California on the ballot, from crime to rent control to reshaping the Board of Supervisors.
Political reporter Emily Schultheis is here to break down some of the key issues for us, because I think it does get very complicated for people as they start going through all of the measures and all these propositions. Can we start with Proposition 36? It's Tough on Crime, is what it's being called, initiative, dominating many political discussions, especially with the LA County DA's race. Can you talk about what this is and what voter polls are showing?
Sure. So Prop 36 would amend some of the changes that we've made in the past toward kind of a more criminal justice, a progressive criminal justice reform. And this is really looking to respond to the issues of retail theft, to drug abuse, to things like this. What it would do is it would increase the penalties for repeat offenders who are committing some of these crimes. So you could potentially be charged with a felony rather than a misdemeanor.
Okay, let's talk about Measure G. That is about restructuring the Board of Supervisors. Talk about the reform and how voters feel about it. Obviously, there's been a big spotlight on the Board of Supervisors here locally in the past months and years.
Absolutely. So this is, the argument for this is that the current Board of Supervisors setup was put in place in 1852, and LA was definitely a different place back then. And the idea that, a county of 10 million people would need more than 5 people on the board, each representing 2 million people. They have talked about this sort of being a necessary change to modernize the LA County government, to create an elected county executive position that would sort of lead over that board. And yeah, I think there are a lot of discussions about ways to bring the LA County government into the 21st century and to make sure that it's able to manage such a huge and sprawling county.
So let's now talk about Proposition 33. It would give local governments greater freedom to enact rent control. We were talking about it a little earlier in the show. What would change if this actually passes?
Well, so what this would do is it would repeal a law passed in 1995 that prohibited local governments from enacting a lot of these types of rent control. So it doesn't necessarily mean that things would immediately change, but it would mean that your city or your town would have the ability to put some of these laws in place in the future. And, in terms of what that means for you, obviously in some cases it could mean that renters are facing some immediate relief. It might have longer term effects, though, in terms of property prices, in terms of what kinds of development could take place in those cities that are putting these in place. And so, the immediate effect is not so clear, but we could see the ripple effects of it down the line, depending on what cities and towns decide to pass.
Yeah, it's a huge issue for voters, and so is homelessness here in LA and Southern California. So Measure A considers raising LA County's sales tax to fund homelessness programs. What should voters know about this?
Well, this is an extension of and an increase to a measure that was passed 7 years ago called Measure H. So that already had increased the sales tax by 1/4 cent in LA to fund some of these programs. What Measure A would do is add another 1/4 cent to that and make this a permanent thing. And in terms of the arguments for it, I watched Mayor Karen Bass speak about this a couple days ago. It's the idea that the city, without this funding, would not be able to continue the work that they're doing in order to fight homelessness in LA, and they intend to sort of take the best lessons learned from that, put new accountability measures in place, and want to continue the things that they're doing and increase them as well.
Okay, well, lots to decide on, lots to get through, but thank you for breaking it all down for us, Emily. We really appreciate it. And if you want more details on the other measures on the California ballot, just go to our website, click on Voters Guide.
It can be confusing out there.
Big time.
All right.